Chaos reigns as the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank send shockwaves through the financial world. The fallout has resulted in the halting of trading of several regional banks, causing panic and fear among investors. Business and markets expert Javier David sheds light to the situation, explaining that fear is not entirely unjustified, as 3 banks have gone under in the last 3 days. With people worried about the safety of their money and the possibility of a bank run, President Biden attempted to reassure Americans earlier today. But the question remains, could this have been prevented with increased regulations? As the situation continues to develop, only time will tell how the markets and banks will recover. This is what we will be discussing in this video. But before we get started, make sure that you are subscribed to our channel. And don't forget to push that like and subscribe button. With that said, let's get started, shall we? The fallout from the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank continues to shake the financial world. Trading in several regional banks has been stopped, including First Republic Bank, which received support over the weekend. As the stock market reacts to the news, Javier David, a business and markets expert, joins to shed some light on the situation. According to the speaker, SVB had a large concentration of startup and technology clients who were caught off guard by the surge of interest rates, which was an outgrowth of the Federal Reserve's hiking campaign. It is suggested that SVB did a poor job of managing risk and its books, and this has contributed to its collapse. Signature Bank, on the other hand, does not have as clear of a reason for its collapse. However, the speaker notes that the fallout from the collapse of these 2 banks has resulted in the halting of trading for several regional banks, causing panic and fear among investors. The fear is not entirely unjustified, as 3 banks have gone under in the last 3 days, and this has caused investors to sell everything, with a focus on regional banks. Javier said that the halting of trading in these stocks is indicative that people are worried about the safety of their money and whether they will be able to access it. This fear is causing speculation and sharp declines in stock prices, but it is unclear if this will translate into people physically removing their money from banks. Javier further explains that the halting of trading in these stocks is indicative of a lot of volatility and fear in the market. President Biden spoke about the issue a few hours ago, attempting to reassure Americans that the banking system is stable. The fear of a bank run is the biggest concern, and it is more resonant than the reality of it. However, if people start pulling their money out of their accounts en masse, this fear could become a reality and a problem for banks. People should not pull money from their accounts because of the said crisis, because it could cause a bank run. If many depositors try to withdraw their money from a bank at the same time, it can create a liquidity crisis for the bank, leading to its failure. This can then cause a chain reaction of bank failures and deepen a financial crisis, potentially leading to a recession or depression. In addition, most banks are insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, which means that deposits up to a certain amount, currently $250,000 per depositor per insured bank, are protected by the government. So even if a bank were to fail, depositors would still be able to recover their money up to the insured amount. Therefore, people need to stay calm and not panic. It is unlikely that the entire banking system will collapse, and the government has measures in place to protect depositors. President Biden's attempt to reassure Americans about the stability of the banking system was likely intended to prevent a bank run and alleviate fears of a financial crisis. Increasing regulations could potentially have stopped or modified this situation. During the Trump administration, regulations were eased, but the current administration is considering increasing regulations to prevent such a collapse from happening again. The situation is still developing, and it remains to be seen how the markets and banks will recover. An emerging consensus suggests that the case of Silicon Valley Bank, or SVB, and Signature Bank, which collapsed in the last hour, is very specific. SVB had a large concentration of startup and technology clients who were caught off guard by the surge of interest rates. an outgrowth of the Federal Reserve's hiking campaign. There is a consensus that SVB did a poor job of managing risk and its books. However, questions are being asked about where the regulators went wrong and whether they should have caught it. We do not have the answers to these questions, but after the dust settles, there will be a lot of unpacking and people will want answers. Right now, we need some settling in the markets, and investors require reassurance that the banking system is sound. The fear is that the market is running away, independent of any concrete evidence that something bad is happening. We need to take a deep breath and realize that some of this is very specific to either specific sectors or specific institutions, but not necessarily indicative of a whole banking failure. The market needs to calm down, and people need to wait and see. To calm the situation, President Biden attempted to reassure Americans earlier that day about the stability of the banking system. The video hints that the president was trying to prevent a bank run, which is a situation where many depositors try to withdraw their money from a bank at the same time because they are worried about the bank's solvency. The video does not provide specific details about what President Biden said during his remarks, but it suggests that his message was aimed at calming fears and preventing a chain reaction of bank failures that could deepen the financial crisis. It is crucial to note that a bank run can have devastating consequences, causing a ripple effect that can lead to the collapse of multiple banks and trigger a broader financial crisis. Hence, President Biden's attempt to reassure the American people was a necessary step in preventing the situation from escalating. As the situation continues to develop, it's important to remember that fear and speculation can cause panic in the markets. While the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank is a cause for concern, it's crucial to maintain perspective and wait for more information before making any hasty decisions. President Biden has attempted to reassure Americans, but it's still uncertain how the markets and banks will recover. It's possible that increased regulations could have prevented this situation, but for now, we need to focus on calming the markets and restoring investor confidence. As always, we'll keep you updated on any developments. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates.